Alright, this next snake, there's quite a story behind it. Her name is Jan. In other words, you know the Yellow Pages ad, Not Happy Jan? Well, I've had this Eastern Brown, I've been here 2 years, 6 years, so it'll be 7 or 8 years. Now, most Eastern Browns that you purchase have either come through the Venom Supplies system, or some chunky bugger that's wild caught or something or other. Also, I hear a rumour that some of the snake catchers in other parts of Australia are either allowed to sell them once they've been treated or have to sell them. I'm not too sure of that, but anyway. Now, me and a couple of other herps sat down one day, and one of my mates has a giant pit with about 9 Eastern Browns that every year without fail breed very successfully. He ends up with hundreds of eggs. The silly bugger does nothing about it, doesn't care, just lets them fail or let nature take its course. One particular day, after a number of beers, one of the herps made a $100 bet with him that he could not get an Eastern Brown from the stage of an egg to an adult, a captive bred Eastern Brown, because they're real hard to get eating, apparently. So it was on. Out of 52 eggs one season, we sat down and we tried and tried and tried. It required force feeding 52 hatchling Eastern Browns rat tails day after day, narrow misses, plenty of dirty undies, all that sort of business. Out of the 52 babies, we got 2 from captive bred, natural, honest to God hatchling Eastern Browns. One of them he kept, the other one I kept. Now Jan, I've tried till my arse falls off to tame her. There are days when I think I could probably free handle her, but I don't trust her, because she's one of those hair triggers that suddenly lets loose. For example, when I got her out of this enclosure, to clean the enclosure, she had her little hissy fit and carried on like a pork chop. She's a little bit bigger than Isabel, the one that I free handle, but I will never ever get rid of her because she was my first Eastern Brown. Sounds like a romantic story, doesn't it? And also because I know she's 100% guaranteed captive bred. I hope to breed from her this season. Last season, Isabel and that Victorian Eastern Brown did breed, and out of all the eggs, only 3 made it. I got them eating, sold them to people, and they died. I don't know why. I believe the reasons why is because when they're young, they need to be fed every couple of days, not just every week or so, to keep them going. And then people put it in their too hard basket and try and feed them a skink, and that fucks it. Because straight away they either want skinks every time, or the skinks have got a heavy parasite burden, and that screws the snake internally. So I bend over backwards to make sure they never get a skink. It's usually a scented pinky, a live pinky. Don't waste time with thawed out pinkies until they get to a decent size, like a year old. And let it be known that from 0 till about 5, they'll probably grow 2 foot. They've got a really slow metabolic rate when they're young for some unknown reason. Then they get to a certain size, when they start eating rats and stuff, they just explode. It's a bit different to other snakes. Anyway, we'll see how I go getting her out of the basket. You might get some footage on YouTube of me getting bitten, eh? I'm sure there's a few of you out there love to see it. Alright, my phone's ringing, and this is her. So I'm not going to fluff around with her too long, so she doesn't get upset. Anyway, there it is.